G'day guys, what is going on? Welcome to a new video. Hope you're doing well. I just want to start off by saying thank you guys so much for sharing the videos this year. All the new videos from this year have been getting a lot of views, a lot of new subscribers. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. If you're a new viewer, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because trust me guys, now that the R33 is tuned, I've been going out for some test runs. We've had no issues so far. Everything has been going sweet. So I can't wait to go out to the hills with some mates and finally get some drift clips. Before I roll on some videos of this boosting around and showing you guys how much it costs to rebuild an RB25, the reason why I'm growing out this beard again is because every boat needs a name. So this is the White Pearl. So if you guys don't know the reference, know your pirate shit. It would be a funny idea to name this the White Pearl and do a funny video about it, so I can't wait to show you guys a funny clip that I've got in my head that I want to film. Alright, back on track, we're going to talk about how much it costs to rebuild an RB25. So I'm going to show you guys all the parts that I've done on my motor. I'm going to show you guys how much it costs, so that way when you guys want to rebuild your RB25, you know exactly what you're going to go through. Show you guys me boosting around, and then we'll talk about how much it costs to rebuild an RB25. Enjoy these clips. How sick was that? That's what 550 horsepower looks like. This engine can make more, but I just kept it at 550 just to keep it reliable, because I got the stock gearbox as well. You probably could push 600 with the stock gearbox, but 550 is perfect. Anywhere from 500 to 550 horsepower, you're laughing in an R33, man. The shit is just so fun, man. Like, just putting your foot down in second and third, you can just feel it in your stomach. And to tell you what guys, I don't think I'll ever push any more than that. If I ever have another build, I'll probably push for 800 horsepower, but we'll talk about that another time. Alright, so right now we're going to talk about from the block first. So we're going to start from the block, then we're going to work our way up to the head. Then we're going to talk about the clutch, the turbo, the intake, the injectors, and everything else, how much it costs to rebuild an RB25. So let's get to it. So starting off with the block, the sump, I kept it a stock sump, so you don't really need to get one of those racing dry sumps. You can if you want, but they cost a lot of money. I know a lot of people that drift with stock sumps, a lot of people that race around with stock sumps. They don't have any issues unless you push out like more than 600 horsepower, then yeah, definitely to upgrade it. For 500 to 550 horsepower, stock sump will do you fine. So with the crankshaft, I've got a stock crankshaft, I've got it resurfaced, rebalanced, and I've also got a Nitto crank collar fit on, so we'll talk about that later on. But with the stock crankshaft, you can use them for around 500 to 550 horsepower, but if you're going to be pushing like more than 600, 700 horsepower, definitely update your crankshaft. Crankshaft is a Welsh alloy plug, and I got them removed and changed them with steel plugs, so that way we don't lose any oil pressure if that Welsh plug ends up popping out. So make sure to replace them with steel plugs. So with your bearings, so I got ACL race bearings. They cost me about 120 bucks. That's pretty cheap for bearings. So make sure to replace all your bearings as well. So use ACL race bearings. So up next is the forged kit. It cost $1,955 for the forged kit. I got it from Spool Imports. You get the Spool Imports con rods, and then you get the CP piston heads. The ratio I'm using is 9:01. And the stock bore size is 86mm. I bought the 86.5mm, so I had to get the engine shop to rebore my block to 86.5mm. So that costs a little bit more money, then plus shipping to get the kit here, plus the GST, it just adds all up. So Alright, so up next for the block, you've got 3 oil galleries. One to the VCT, and then there's 2 other ones. I've blocked off the middle gallery. The back one I've put a 0.9mm, and the VCT oil gallery I've also put a 0.9mm. You don't need to put a 0.9mm for the VCT. It depends on your build, different setups, drifting, racing, whatever. So make sure to read up on what oil restrictors to use for your setup. So don't go by what I've done, because this is like my setup. So make sure to figure out what's perfect for your setup. The oil pump that I use, it cost me I think $500 including the Nitto crank collar, as I was talking about. So make sure to get a Nitto crank collar, and I'm using a GTR N1 oil pump. So they're about, I think, I'm not sure because I bought it with the Nitto crank collar, so it was $500. So let's just say them two that you need, $500. So the GTR N1 oil pump, they're very good. I've got a couple of mates that use it for drifting. I know another bloke that uses it for racing, and they've had no issues with it, around 550 horsepower as well. So if you're going to be aiming for around that power, make sure to get a GTR N1 oil pump. Alright, so between the block and the head, you're going to update your head gasket. So make sure to get an MLSR head gasket. It's the 3 metal layer one, so I've got that as my head gasket, and they're about $260 from Just Jap. So they're pretty affordable, so make sure to update your head gasket. Don't cheap out and put a stock one, so make sure to always update your head gasket. I should mention as well that I got the engine shop to resurface my block and my head. So make sure when you're updating your head gasket to go get your head resurfaced, because you don't want it to be slightly warped and it starts leaking. And with engine shops, they're all different prices, so I don't know how much it costs at your local engine shop to, you know, resurface your head and block. It wouldn't cost that much, but definitely do it, guys. Alright, now to the head. I've got Supertech valve springs. They cost me $800. I bought them from, I can't even remember where I bought them from, but yeah, just check online. Make sure to get Supertech valve springs. They're the best valve springs to have in your RB25 head. So if you're going to have new lifters in your RB25 head, I highly recommend doing that, because I'm an idiot for putting my old ones back in. Alright, to the camshafts now. I'm using Tomei Pond cams at 256 degrees, because you've heard how my car sounds. They sound amazing, so I highly recommend getting a Tomei Pond cams 256 degree ones. And they cost anywhere from, like, you know, you could get them second hand for $500, or you can get new ones for $900. So make sure to check up online. Now onto the ARP head studs. You definitely want to update your head studs, so make sure to get ARP head studs. They cost about $280, which is also cheap, and they're awesome because they hold your head down a lot better than what the stock ones do. So don't ever put your stock head studs back in. Make sure to get ARP head studs. Alright guys, so for the front of the motor, you get like the whole timing kit. The whole timing kit could cost you anywhere from like $300 to $380. They give you the timing belt, the Gates timing belt, the water pump. You also get the oil seal, so make sure to get a whole new timing kit. Don't ever put your old shit back in, alright guys? And the clutch that I'm using the Exceedy extra heavy duty. So I think they're rated to like 700 horsepower, I think. I can't remember, but they cost, from Kudos Motorsports, $671, which is a very affordable clutch, and it's very comfortable as well. Like when I've gone out to my secret spots and driving around, the clutch feels very nice. In traffic it isn't that bad either, and it holds the power very fine. So make sure to hit up Kudos Motorsports, check out the Exceedy extra heavy duty clutch. And also with the radiator, you always want to update your radiator. Never put your shitty stock one back in. A fair few people do use their stock radiators. I don't understand how their car don't overheat, but yeah, always just update to a thicker radiator. So this radiator is also from Kudos Motorsports. It costs $594. So this is a $594 Blitz Racing radiator. Legit Blitz. You guys probably can't see down there. So with the harmonic balancer, always update your harmonic balancer, because the ones that are like 20 years old, all the rubber and the harmonic balancer is all like cracked and worn. So when you get your engine balance, it doesn't sit right, it starts wobbling. So make sure to update your harmonic balancer. The OEM ones, brand new, cost $300. I also got that from Kudos Motorsports. That's why I love Kudos Motorsports. They have a lot of Nissan parts, so make sure to check them out. So $300 for the stock OEM harmonic balancer. I think all of us RB dudes know how annoying the oil problem is in RB engines, so that's why I've gone to the back of the head and I've put a rear main oil drain to the sump. So what you do is go to Spool Imports. They're $225 for the rear main oil drain. So you get your head at the back of the head, run a hose into a fitting to your sump, so that way all the oil from the head goes back straight into your sump. So with the injectors, you won't be able to see the injectors there because there's a lot of shit in the way, but the injectors are running our Bosch 1000cc top feed injectors with the Raceworks fuel rail. We've got the TurboSmart 800 series fuel pressure regulator. That whole setup costs about $1,000 bucks. So injectors aren't cheap, but they're definitely worth it. So now to the fuel pump. Obviously I can't show you my fuel pump, but I'm running a Walbro 460 fuel pump. They're $230 from Kudos Motorsports. And also make sure to run a relay with them because the stock wiring can't handle it. So this one's powered through the battery into this 30 amp relay right here, if you guys can see that. Got a typical zip tie holding it up for now. So yeah, the fuel pump is $230, and the relay and the wiring, you're probably looking at about $50, I reckon, so that's nothing. So it's definitely worth to get a relay with your fuel pump. So up next is the 6-boost manifold. So with your exhaust manifold, you definitely want to have something sick. So I highly recommend getting a 6-boost manifold. Don't get anything else, don't get any eBay shit. Make sure to get a 6-boost manifold because it's lifetime guaranteed, and they give the best sound. It's got this really nice raspy sound when you put your foot down on the throttle. It's just perfect, guys, man. I don't know why people would cheap out and buy like a $300 manifold and then they just end up cracking with the headache of taking all this off and then replacing with another cheap one. And the more times you replace cheap ones, you might as well just bought a 6-boost manifold, so it saves you in the long run. And I bought this 6-boost manifold from Globies, and I think they're about $1,100. So $1,100 for a 6-boost manifold, and you've got that for life. I'll talk about the external gate after the turbo. So the turbo here is a Hypergear ATR45 SS ball bearing turbo. Teo also done the T51 armor, so at night time you can hear this turbo whistle. It's so sick and gives off the nicest loud flutter with this 4-inch intake pipe. Make sure to run a pod filter because you don't want stones and shit going into your turbo and blowing shit up. So with turbos, it depends what turbo you guys want to run. I highly recommend getting an ATR45 SS ball bearing turbo from Teo at Hypergear turbochargers. These turbos are very affordable, so you're probably looking about anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 depending if you want to go ball bearing upgrade as well. So make sure to check out his website at Hypergear turbochargers. A lot of people run different turbos on their setups to make 550 horsepower, so I'm going to say turbos can vary anywhere from, you know, $1,000 to $2,000. So I'm going to cap it at $1,500. A lot of people think with the intake manifold you need to go forward facing. You really don't. Look, they do look better, but it's a waste of money. This thing made 407 kilowatts with the stock intake manifold, and we can make probably 480 with it. So definitely not worth spending $1,000 for a forward facing. You can just keep the old stock intake manifold. Just make sure to update the gasket because the Series 2 motors have a rubber gasket and they tend to break, so make sure to replace it. Up next is the Aeroflow intercooler. I bought this from Tuner's Edge for $180, so that's not bad. It's 300 by 600 by 76 the intercooler size is, and this Aeroflow intercooler has done so well. I was very nervous that it wasn't going to do so well, but this Aeroflow held up the job. So $180, you're laughing for an intercooler. So make sure to hit up Tuner's Edge or get an Aeroflow with the size that I just recommended, and for $180. I know a lot of you guys love the welds on my intercooler piping, the exhaust piping as well, thanks to a mate of mine, Bevan at B-Weld. So make sure to hit up B-Weld. Bevan is the bloke you're going to be talking to. He's an amazing fabricator. Look at the welds on that, man. Look at the welds. He did such an awesome job. He didn't even cut a hole down here either. So a lot of you guys have seen my old videos, and to the new viewers that haven't seen this yet, there's no hole cut here. So he's gone through down there and just rerouted all around to there. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I can't talk about how much it costs to get the intercooler piping and exhaust piping done because, you know, it's a mate, gave mates rate in that. I reckon intercooler piping can cost anywhere from like $400 to $900 depending on the brand, I guess. And for my exhaust system, Bevan from B-Weld also did my whole exhaust. So he did the welding on the dump pipe to the high flow cat straight through to a Varex cannon. So this is 3-inch all the way through. So I'll show you guys underneath. And my exhaust goes all the way to the back down there. To be honest, I didn't think this Varex cannon was going to sound any good, but holy shit, this Varex cannon gives off a nice raspy note. So I'm very glad I got this 3-inch cannon. Mad. Oh, pricing of exhaust systems. Depending on exhaust and exhaust cat and what exhaust system you go for and what cannon, depends who does it. I'm going to say the whole exhaust system from the dump to the cannon, or $600 to $1,000 you're looking at for an exhaust system, like a full exhaust system. Alright, so there's my external gate. I bought my external gate for $350. It depends what external gate you use. Like Turbo Smart ones I think cost around $700, and I'm using a 50mm gate as well. So the size I've got is 50mm. It depends what setup you're gonna run, 45, 40, it depends what you got, you know what I mean? Doesn't really matter. So all different brands cost different, so I'm going to say anywhere from $350 to $700 for an external gate. Alright, I'm going to be talking about my ECU for a second, but for now I'm going to show you quickly. I've got my Haltech wideband unit that runs to the Haltech unit, same with the intake air temperature sensor that I've got back here. So don't run MAF, make sure to run MAP. So with ECUs, I can't be bothered unscrewing my cover to show you guys my ECU, but I've got a Haltech Platinum Plug-in Pro. I bought that also from Kudos Motorsports at the time for $1,900. ECUs aren't cheap. A lot of people run like second-hand power FCs, but they usually lose their memory. Then you have to go get another tune, so you don't want to bother with that. But I've seen that new power FCs can cost you anywhere from $1,500, so you might as well chuck in the extra $400, get a Haltech, run a flex tune, because with power FCs you can't run 98 and E85, you can only run fuel. At least with the Haltech you can have flex fuel. And with the Haltech there's just so much more with it compared to the power FC. But look, that's a whole nother story depending on your setup, your budget. So I'm going to recommend getting a Haltech, or if you guys prefer a Link ECU, go for a Link. Just depends on your setup. So I went with the Haltech because all these tuners and a lot of guys I know run Haltech, so I took their word on it. And with ECUs, they can cost anywhere from, like, I'm going to say for a decent ECU you're looking at about $2,000, so I'll put that down, $2,000 for a decent ECU. I should mention as well with blow-off valves, like I don't like blow-off valves. Well, it depends on the sound of the blow-off valve. I'm not really a fan of like the noise. Like you might as well just go so if you run no valve you get the best flutter possible. So I'm running no blow-off valve, and what I've done was I've just blocked off like all the old shit. So block off that port, block off these two ports down here because they all used to run to the BOV. As I said, run no BOV and you'll be fine, man. You won't blow a turbo. People talk shit about that stuff all the time. And for the diff, so now with my diff, I've got a Nismo two-way in my diff. They're not cheap, they're about $1,300 to $1,700 for a diff. A lot of people just chuck $50 and get them welded. I don't care about welded diffs, I'm fine with them, but I thought, you know what, if you get a Nismo two-way, it just adds value to your car compared to a welded diff, you know what I mean? So a welded diff, you're looking at about $50, whereas if you get a Nismo two-way, you're looking about anywhere from $1,300 to $1,700. Just depends where you get it from. Alright, so I forgot to mention the coil packs. So I've got split fire coil packs. I also got them from Kudos Motorsports for $550. And then the wiring I got from Kudos Motorsports as well. They're $176. These are updated coil pack harness wirings. You definitely want fresh wiring, fresh coil packs, fresh spark plugs with the whole fresh rebuild. You don't want to be chucking in 20-year-old harness, you know what I mean? So make sure to update all your shit. And with my catch can setup, this is a vented aeroflow catch can. So if you're going to run a vented one, make sure to block off this port up here and then block off the PCV valve down there. It costs anywhere from like $50 to $200, let's say. Alright, so all the parts I just showed you guys and how to build 550 horsepower plus how much it costs, all the numbers that I just mentioned, if I'm wrong, make sure to correct me, but the total is $16,583. See, the issue is cars are fun and all that, but it's commitment as well. So if you guys really want to commit, this is how much it costs to do. $16,583. That's just for all the parts and that. There's labor as well. If you guys don't have any mechanical skills and go to a shop to do and they do all these things, it's just going to cost so much more. As you guys have seen throughout my videos, and to the new viewers, make sure to check out this engine build that I've done. I did most of the work in my driveway, or pretty much 95% of the job I did in my driveway. I bought an engine crane, bought so many tools, so I didn't include the tool money. So when you buy tools and that, plus shipping and GST, I should mention that as well, with all the parts, because I was buying from different shops, GST and shipping just kept ripping me off, man. It was just crazy. Sometimes it'll be like $80 shipping, and because of GST, it'll be like, you know, $20 here, $60 here, $100 here. It depends how much stuff you buy and where you buy it from as well. It just sucked to see how much I spent on shipping and GST alone. In total, when you buy all the tools, the shipping, GST, you're looking around like $20,000, I reckon. So it's very expensive, and that's not even including labor. My engine shop that I went to when they resurfaced my block and the head, did the engine balancing, I didn't include the pricing either of that. So you're probably looking around mid 20K for a whole engine rebuild. And that's if you do most of the labor by yourself. You go to an engine shop and say, hey, put a whole complete motor for me together, you're looking at some big dollars, I reckon. So that's pretty insane how much it costs to rebuild an RB25. Is it worth it? It's up to you, because I've been around these cars pretty much my whole life. I remember being a little kid,
when I was living out in Doncaster. So like all the Asian dudes were driving Skylines and Silvias, and I see like, do a burnout, this and that. And that got me into it. And then Fast and the Furious came out, the first movie, and I remember seeing that yellow R33. I'm like, oh my god, this movie has a fucking R33 in it, and they barely showed it. Owning these cars pretty much ever since I got before my learners actually. I was 15 years old when I bought my first R32, and I want to talk about that in another video. So yeah, I've been around these cars. I've been owning them since I was 15 years old, and I've only owned Skylines and Silvias. I love Skylines so much, so this whole build is worth it to me. If the build is worth it to you guys, then go for it. If you got issues with like commitment and stuff, think about it, because it's very expensive. If you guys want to do a basic mod, like pretty much like my S14 is, if you guys want to see like a budget build RB25 that doesn't cost that much, but you can get a little bit of power out of it, leave a comment down below and we'll make it happen. So I'm hoping this video helped you guys out knowing how much it costs to rebuild an RB25 and what you're going to be going through. It is a lot of headaches, because like getting tools, shit snapping, getting the wrong tools, running to Bunnings, running to Autobahn, running to all these different shops back and forth, grabbing parts, tools, everything just adds up. Especially owning the S14 and building that up and getting parts of that, it just adds up on top of everything else as well. So if you're a new viewer, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, make sure to hit the like button on the video, make sure to share the video as well. So thank you guys so much for the love and support, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Catch you guys later.